Hi everyone, my name's Lorraine and welcome to See Through the Big C. So this is a conversation all about cancer, and I'll be interviewing different people in the community, whether that's people diagnosed with cancer, healthcare professionals, or people caring for somebody with cancer. And I cannot wait to meet so many amazing people. So here we go. Welcome, Larissa, to See Through the Big C. I'm really excited to have you here. I've known you for a number of years now for a different capacity in like the personal development space. But I know last year you reached out to me in terms of your own cancer diagnosis, which for both of us, and especially for yourself, was completely out of the blue and a shock. So before we go into talking about your cancer diagnosis, tell me about Larissa before your cancer diagnosis.
Okay, so I am the founder of the Expert Skin Clinic, which is a place where we do advanced skin treatments and blemish removals for benign blemishes and screen for skin cancers. But before that, long before that, I started off in the beauty industry. Obviously, before that, I was at school.
Yeah.
And I am dyslexic and autistic, and so I didn't get on great at school. And I think part of what led me here was trying to fit in, and some of those things involved doing what other people did to try and look like other people.
Yeah.
One of those being sunbeds, which
Yeah.
probably led me to where I've ended up with the skin cancer. And you know, growing up in the 80s and 90s and burning.
Yeah.
And that's what people did. So I've been really into the industry since about 13, started off in the beauty industry as soon as I could.
Yeah.
And then it just evolved into skin, into being a bit of a skin expert. And then realising I actually had skin cancer.
Yeah, so that was last year, wasn't it?
Yes.
That you found out. So how did you find out that you had skin cancer in the first place?
Well, because of the work that I do now, because we work with blemishes, we need to have a really good understanding of what's likely to be a cancerous lesion and not, and to be able to tell the difference and when to refer and when to screen. And I've done the training with the Skin Cancer Charity many times, which is a way of us detecting cancers on people, because we're perfectly placed. We see skins all the time.
Yeah.
So even not to diagnose, because we're not medical, but to say to somebody, you know, you should get that checked, because we do know what we're looking for. And it was because of that training and that I could see something evolving on my skin very early, very superficial. Most people, even a doctor, would not have noticed it, but it was definitely down to the training that I'd done with the Skin Charity.
Yeah, so what was the first way you could spot it then?
They do appear differently. There's not one distinct look to them.
Yeah.
They can come in different forms, but mine was a very slightly pinker patch of skin, just on my forehead at the top, really subtle. It's not somewhere you would usually get a spot.
Yeah.
It was hardly visible, slightly waxy looking, slight indentation in it, but very subtle, and it just didn't really develop, but didn't go.
Yeah. So how long were you watching this blemish for?
I have to say, I did ignore it because I was busy, you're busy at work, but also I think because I knew deep down what it could be, and I was quite scared because I thought, this is my business. How am I going to deal with this when I'm meant to be an expert in skin?
Yeah.
So probably I would say I watched it and did nothing about it for a good 6 months. And then I started to really think, okay, I definitely think this is. But how can I go to the doctors with this? Because it's still hardly visible. Yeah. And question my own judgment. So probably 8 months was when I screened it, because by that point I was like, it definitely is.
Yes,
but nobody will believe me. Like if I go to the usual route of the doctors, it just looked like nothing.
So when you said you screened it, was that screened yourself, do you mean?
So I offer service in our clinic, and it's called Map My Mole.
Yeah.
It's a screening service where we actually use a dermatoscope,
What's that then?
It's
just for anybody that don't know.
Yeah. So dermatoscope is a special piece of equipment that actually some doctors that are advanced in skin will use when they check your skin, but dermatologists typically use them.
Okay.
So if you go in for a consultation, they will pop that over the lesion, and what it does is it sees deep into the lesion, and you can see structures, shapes, globules, veins,
so really detailed,
and it can really make a lesion look different. So clinically you can look at something and it can look fine, and then you can look under the dermatoscope and you can see that it's not okay.
And is that what you saw when you did your screening?
So we checked the images first, and it was actually myself and a colleague of mine that I used to work with, and we both had the same opinion. So we sent it off to Matt My Mole. Dr. Toby Nelson did the report, and it came back that in his opinion it was as well.
So what did you do after that then? Did you contact like your normal GP?
I did. I tried to get an appointment and I couldn't get an appointment, even though I said I have this form, have this report that states that, you know, I've got this skin cancer. And do you not need to see me face to face so that you can
actually look at it?
And you can be more confident in the referral that you're making. And they said I could have a phone call. So I had a phone call, explained, they made the referral, but the referral is still outstanding. I've not seen anybody to date, and that was the 10th of October 2024.
So you've kind of been left, you've done your own screening, can clearly see there's been a problem, it's been told there's a problem, and then it's just been ignored.
Because the thing with the NHS is that because it's a non-life threatening, it's not a cancer that will kill you, they're so overwhelmed by the demand because skin cancers have risen so much that the wait time is so long. So had it been a melanoma, then it would have been treated quicker. But at the moment, it does depend where you live. Unfortunately, here in Northampton, it seems to be much longer waiting times. But I haven't even seen a dermatologist yet, which is the first point, which would be a consultation for them to decide to then book you in for a biopsy.
So that's insane.
And then after the biopsy, it's about... my dad's just about to have his done now, and he has been waiting, I'm going to say nearly 2 years. It's been over a year since the biopsy, maybe 18 months.
So didn't you feel like terrified that nobody's getting back in contact with you?
So at that point, what happened is I assumed it would be done on like a 2-week urgent referral, just because it actually come from a leading consultant saying, I believe this is a cancer. And I was moving house and time just passed, and then I thought, hang on a minute, like it's been a while now.
It was
been
actually,
in contact. I think it was really close to Christmas. And I thought, whoa, we've had like a couple of months go by now. And I think I was alarmed because although I knew that it was for maybe the last 8 months, I think when it was confirmed,
that's different.
It's like before I was questioning my own judgment. So then I was already feeling like I've already left it 8 months. Now this is another 2 months. And although I know that they're slow growing, they grow between 1 and 2 millimetres a year, I know too much. So I know that it's not just a case of a quick freeze, which a lot of people do opt for. It doesn't get rid of all the cells. So I knew the longer it's left, the more I would have to have taken away. So I decided to reach out to Dr. Toby Nelson because he was on Instagram. He actually is quite rare. A lot of consultants don't do what he does, but he showcases all of his Mohs surgeries, which is the particular type of surgery they do for faces with skin cancers, where they remove 100% of the cancer there and then. They work with really tight margins and they do restorative work. So it was less scary because you can see the before, the during, and the after,
and be safe, feel safe,
comfortable that he's really knowledgeable in what he does. So I reached out to him and said, "Look, you've done this report on me." Sent the screenshots of the report and said, "This is where I am with it. I've been to the doctors. Is this normal? Should I be worried? Do I need this removing in months or?"
Just tell me something.
Is it okay to be waiting? And he said, this is quite typical of this, in his opinion, with any cancer. The sooner you take it off, the better. But, don't be too alarmed. Months is okay, but 6 months, a year
is a long time.
Is not really. I then asked if there was anybody closer, because he lives in Devon, to see, because he said you could go private. And so I took him up on his recommendation, and I went off to Birmingham to see somebody for a face-to-face consultation. He also confirmed that he thought it was, and that it wasn't a straightforward process there. He did it on the NHS, but he couldn't do it privately because he didn't have that set up. So it was really difficult, because then I thought, well,
you're kind of in limbo then, like, what do I actually do?
Really in limbo, because then he recommended somebody else at that particular practice. And then it was like, well, you could pay for a biopsy and then you could move on to the NHS. And if we did it here, maybe it would be 7 months rather than a year or a year and a half. And it all seemed really complicated.
It sounds really complicated.
I felt really overwhelmed, even having all the knowledge that I have. And I just felt like, if this is how I feel...
And you've got some knowledge.
Quite a lot of knowledge. I can't imagine how somebody else would feel not knowing where to go or what to do and just waiting. And so I decided to go back to Toby, and he was amazing. Each step of the way, he was so contactable, which is really unusual.
Yeah, I was going to say,
especially for somebody that is in such high demand. And he said, I then said to him, look, how much would it cost for you to do it? Because now I'm considering driving 4 hours
to get it done.
Now that doesn't seem so, such a big ask, because I feel confident with you. And he said, look, let's have a consultation call. Let's discuss things properly. Do some more dermatoscope images. Let's have another look at it. And so we did all of that, and we decided to go ahead with the surgery. So I actually got in really, really quickly. It was like, I think because of Christmas it was slightly longer, but it was about 4 weeks.
So that would be end of January of this year?
Yes.
That you had it,
And he was just brilliant. We worked together on it. I decided at that point, actually the nicest thing was when we had our consultation, often I find consultants, they don't have enough time for you. But that was different with Toby. And I actually said to him, look, this is really bothering me. This is what I do as a living. And I where do I go with this? I feel like my whole business is going to be over. And he was really humble, and he said, look, I'm a consultant dermatologist that I remove cancer for a living. I've had a BCC. So
that's the type of cancer you had?
That is the type of cancer.
So if you explain what is a BCC type cancer?
BCC is a basal cell carcinoma. It's a really common type of skin cancer that most people do end up getting. It's caused through sun damage. So burning in the sun. Or, sometimes we get them even without burning. When we tan, that is a sign of skin damage. It's our skin's defence. It's its way of trying to protect the skin. But if we've tanned, our skin has incurred damage. But mainly it's through burning and sunbeds. And he's similar age to me.
So how old are you, Larissa? Because you look really young.
I'm 40. He grew up in Devon, Cornwall, so was on the beach a lot. The sun creams weren't as good. We didn't have the knowledge, and as a result, he's skin type 1, red hair, and he had a BCC. And that for me really made me feel a lot better. And then I decided to lean into it. And thought, actually, if we're going to do this, I'm in such an important place.
With the work you're doing as well.
Yes, to actually spread awareness of this and help people and show people to get early detection. So they're not missed. Because actually people can have these growing for 5-10 years before they notice them or do anything about them. So, we worked together. I said, look, I'd love to document it all, because I noticed what he did with his work. And he said, absolutely fine, we'll have a medical photographer. And we documented the whole thing, and I shared it on Instagram. And I couldn't believe the impact that it had.
No, I'm not surprised, because you hear about it, but not in the level of detail that you're talking about it now. And what I think's really surprised me is the fact that you've reached out and you've had no contact, no support through this process, and you're navigating it with the experience and the knowledge, shall I say, that you have. But that's still a lot. It's still scary and it's still terrifying, because everybody expects, if they've reached out to the doctors for help in this way, that you will get at least listened to or some support.
It's a really tricky area because doctors are obviously really general and so they learn a little bit about everything. So they generally don't know. And what's really scary, which is why I'm glad we work in collaboration with Matt My Mole now, is that we get a lot of cases where there's two things that go on really. Either doctors refer too much because they just don't know, or they say that something's fine when it's not.
It's actually not.
I've had quite a few cases where people have come in and they've said, I've booked in for a consultation because I've got a cherry angioma on my nose, and so it's cosmetic. I've been to the doctors. He said you'll have to seek cosmetic advice, and it's a BCC.
Which is
a skin cancer. So I know when I look at it, but I'm not, because I'm not medical, I'm not allowed to say this is what this is.
But you can at least give people like advice to say go back.
So at that point I will advise them that if they wanted it treating, I'd have to rule out this. And then I'll explain to them that some lesions that we treat replica cancerous lesions, and so if there's any tick boxes that are not quite right, then we have to screen, and then we screen, and between 2 and 48 hours they get their diagnosis from leading consultants in the country that remove cancers every day, and it's hard to then deliver that to them because they've been told by a doctor it's fine.
But that's a lot for you to deal with though as well, isn't it? To be able to communicate that message to people.
It was definitely difficult at first because it was something new to us. But Matt My Mole are really supportive, and they guide you through the process of, you know, how you need to be. The same as the skin cancer charity. They actually teach you the type of things that you need to be saying, how you need to word things so you don't alarm people. So I think the work that we're doing is so needed because there's just these gaps, and it's not really the doctor's fault. They are general, they have to know a bit about everything, and so I just feel like we bridge that gap. Well,
it sounds like you're doing amazing work bridging that gap, because then you can do you make the referral, or you advise the person that you're treated to make the referral? Is that how it works?
So we'll do the screening for them there and then, usually if they just want to know if something's okay or if they want blemish treatment, but you know, they don't have to do that, but they do have other options. But if something comes back and it is that they do deem it that it's cancerous, it needs looking into, it needs a biopsy, we'll guide them through their options and obviously explain to them that you can go to the doctors, but it really depends where you live, and you might not get anywhere with them. But sometimes people have private medical care and they've chosen to go that pathway and been really successful. And some people like me just prefer to pay privately, just so you can get it done, peace of mind. And I know some people would say, oh, well, it's all right for some if you can afford it. I actually didn't have any money.
I remember you said that to me.
But in the grand scheme of things, it's what you value. And, you know, maybe there are some people that couldn't get a credit card, but I could because I'd never had any. So that's how I did it. And I'm still paying for it now. I've got 2 more payments and then I'll be done. And so for me, when you divide it up, it is then affordable.
You did what was right for you, and that's the main thing.
It was right for me, and it wasn't because I had loads of money. I was probably the least person that should be spending that. But I just felt like for my mental health, I needed to get it done. I'd watched my dad go through the same pathway and thought, I'm about to step into this, and I can't. Now I know I can't. Like, everyone's how they feel will be different. My dad felt like there was no urgency.
So
to
was
him.
Your dad before you? He had the same.
So he's got the same, but it's on his nose.
Okay, so when was your dad diagnosed then? Was that a couple of years before yourself?
So it was about the beginning of the year that I then knew that I had mine.
So, last year as well?
And so, but at the beginning of the year, and mine was towards the end of the year, and he's about to have his done tomorrow.
So were you able to lean into each other for support and advice?
I tried. Well, my dad doesn't seem to be too stressed about it. I think, again, this is because sometimes less knowledge we did have some interesting conversations because he couldn't understand why I was more alarmed than he was, and the consultants had said it's really not anything to worry about. And I think a lot of that is, you know, he's older. It's like, it's not his business. Like, my face is part of my business. It was on the front of my head, so it's quite scary as a young person. knowing like a lot of people when they see something quite small and they don't have an understanding of the cancer, they think it's just going to be a tiny little bit that's removed. But it's quite a lot. So for me, I'd found a new pathway because I didn't really know actually that you could, you know, have it done with somebody like Toby privately. And I was like, why don't we do this? And actually he didn't see the point, so we had a different opinion on it. You know, he's got way more money than me. They're older. They own their house. But for him, he's like, no, I'm okay waiting. So we had conversations. I showed him images. I felt like I informed him, but ultimately it's the adult's decision.
Of course.
You know, what they feel is right for them, and he didn't feel it necessary to pay, because ultimately you can have the same treatment, this particular type of surgery, on the NHS.
But you just have to wait a lot longer for it.
Because it's very specialist. So if it's more of a removal on the body and it's just an excision, then probably not as long. But this is very specific. Not as many consultants do it. It's kind of a little bit cosmetic as well.
And that's why you have to wait.
Because there's just not enough people.
Okay. I was going to ask you, so when obviously you were going through all this, who was your support network? Who did you talk to about this? Because you've said it had an impact on your mental health.
I would say I felt quite fortunate, because in the community that I work in with the ACP, which is the blemish removal, we've got a really lovely community. There's not loads of us, and we're up and down the country, so we're very supportive for each other. And I just kind of shared it with them, and everybody was really supportive. I actually was blown away after I had the treatment done by the amount of people that don't live here. They're all over the country, but they sent me flowers and cards and messages and things. It was amazing. So I actually felt quite supported through it. I think once I knew I was actioning it, taking action for me was the thing. It would be the loss of control in just waiting that would have affected my mental health, I think. 'Cause I just wanted it to be done.
And then you got that peace of mind that I've sorted it.
Yeah, because I just felt like even though it's slow growing, it's just growing, and it would still be growing now.
Because you still haven't been seen by anybody.
I still haven't even, you know, and actually I haven't told them that I've had it done, because I still need to see a dermatologist, because it's now important that I have skin checks. So although they won't need to remove this, by the time I see them, I still need a body check.
Just to make sure.
So this will be an annual thing that I need to do. So, the NHS think it's still growing.
Well, thank God it's not. So in terms of the procedure, what was the actual procedure like to have it removed, the blemish?
It was, actually, it sounds strange to say this, but we had such a good time. I think the setting where I had it done is this incredible historic building that they've turned into a private clinic.
And that's in Devon, where you travelled to.
It's actually got quite a lot of history to it. It's amazing. And I think the team were just incredible at making you feel really comfortable and welcoming. Toby was like, what music would you like? I said, well, whatever music you think you work best to.
Just get it out.
But I actually found the whole thing really, incredible, really, because I was learning the whole time. And they made it really comfortable and fun.
That's good.
So there was no pain. He injected the area. You're awake when you have it done. It's very, very quick. They aim to remove it all in one incision. A lot of people misunderstand this type of surgery because it's done on such tight margins. They remove it and then they test the tissue there and then. And then they go back and take more if they need to. Because they make sure everything's cell is gone. So even I had a misunderstanding of this. I thought they carefully took away a layer at a time and kept testing it, but it's not. They know the margins so well that they aim to take it all in the first go.
That's incredible.
I did feel a bit of a crunch and a pull, but had no idea of the size of the hole until I saw the images.
And it was a lot bigger than you thought it was.
Because mine was so new compared to some people's that I see. That I thought, oh, maybe this will literally be like nothing. And I'll be a bit embarrassed afterwards after making a big thing about it. So actually, and then they patch you up. So he instantly patched me up. I waited about, 45 minutes while they test the tissue. He was really pleased with the outcome. He said the margins were tight, but he was,
able to do it.
He was happy with it. So then it was the case of the repair work. he was quite keen to leave it open because it can heal really well, but I was quite keen to not because it meant longer off of work.
Yeah, and you're in your own business as well.
Because you've got to heal from heel upwards.
Yeah.
He was quite concerned to do a linear scar because he didn't want to really leave a scar.
Yeah.
But I said, well, if you feel like it's possible, that would be my preference.
Yeah.
He was really clear on the fact that he had to cut some of my hair away and that the scar would go across my forehead right up into my hair.
Yeah.
When I did see it, it was quite large. And the hole was quite large, but even I think 12 weeks on, you could hardly see it.
And what was it? And that was a 12-week recovery period, would you say, or a lot longer?
So when they do the surgery, they see you a week after to check the wound, and then they see you 6 weeks after.
Yeah.
And it looked really good. But I then went back at 12 weeks and I had some preventative laser, which is something that people have been really interested in, that most people don't know about or don't do.
Okay, what is it? What does that involve?
So this is a special type of laser that destroys skin damage within the skin. So what it does is it's going to reduce my chances of future BCCs by 30%.
It's still significant,
which is I felt was worth having
worth
it
doing.
done. Yeah, for me, because actually I don't want more chunks chopping out of my face. And it's unavoidable. The damage has been done. So although I look after my skin now, and I have done for 20 years, so it's not what's happening now, this is the result of what happened when I was a child and a teenager. Yeah. So I can't control what's going to happen now going forward. And so for me, it's preventative, and it's a cost, but it's still cheaper than having chunks taken out of my head.
Yeah, of course,
So it was expensive for one session. It was a little bit invasive, but for me, it was the right thing for me.
Yeah, of course. And how was it navigating? Because you're running your own business, plus going through this as well. What was that like, trying to juggle both?
I think if it had been a few years ago, I would have been really stressed and overwhelmed and actually probably not made the decisions that I made. Yeah. Because life was a bit chaotic in business then. But thanks to the work that I've done for the last 3 or 4 years with the business, which involved Lucienne, I had transformed the business. So it meant that I had systems and processes in place that meant that it carried on as it was, and I had some time off, and it was fine. And I had the time that I needed. All the online stuff was working, so people were still able to book consultations for when I was back. Yeah. And schedule treatment for when I was back. And actually that side of it worked really, really well.
That's good to hear. So once you had your 12 weeks, so you've had the operation and then you've had your 12 weeks recovery, what was the next stage after that? Is it straight back to work?
Well, I only had 6 weeks off, but it was 12 weeks when we did the laser. Yeah. So he said to me, allow 5 or 6 weeks in case we leave it open. Yeah. I decided to take that whole time off. Just because I wasn't wearing makeup, and for me, I generally wear makeup to work. I didn't feel professional. Yeah. But it was absolutely fine. I think the first couple of days I went back, I had new clients in for consultations, and I didn't wear any makeup. Yeah. And they were like, your skin's amazing.
You're like, thanks.
And I was like, thanks. I've just had skin cancer, which was really odd because just before I was leaving, I get consultations all the time. There were a lot of people who often find will say that in a consultation. They'll say, God, your skin's amazing. And it was, normally I just will sort of say, thanks, you know, I have been looking after it all this time. But just before I was like, well, technically it's not because I've got skin cancer. And people, again, were really shocked. So I think that's the thing that I've got out of it is, then sharing it and explaining it to people. And generally there's not the knowledge out there. People don't know.
No, they don't. And that's why I asked you to come on here, because it's not something I often hear talked about at all, really. And to learn what I'm learning from you now in terms of the whole process. And I didn't realise that through your business, you were actually doing the screenings yourself. That's a big deal.
Yeah. So I mean so we've learnt loads from doing that. So a lot of the time now, all of us ACPers, we we guess to ourselves, that's going to be a Seb K, that's going to be this type of mole. Because even within a mole, there's so many different types of moles. And we're learning the structures and things like that. So while we'll never diagnose, we have a really good understanding, and it's nice to have that relationship with the consultants.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
we're learning from them.
Yeah, and I guess they're learning from you as well.
True. Because actually, when it was invented, Toby invented it because he worked for the NHS and privately, and he could see the problem with the wait lists and people not even be able to get an appointment. So he actually invented Map My Mole with a free lens because it was intended for home use.
Oh wow, okay.
So that if you couldn't get an appointment,
you could at least do it yourself.
You could download the app, order the kit, do it yourself, and it would go directly to him.
Wow.
That's what the idea was, but somehow somebody in our industry bought it, started using it in clinic, and then it spread. Yeah. And then he realised that the free lens was not good enough for this. So that's when he said, you know, for all you business owners, if you buy this lens, we can offer it as a service. Yeah. And so people still do it at home.
Okay,
which it was intended for. So people can still do that. He's just partnered with some the lifeguards in Cornwall and Devon, and he's doing free skin checks for them. So they have them at their lifeguard stations.
That's amazing.
So they can do their own checks because they're in the sun
all the
saving
time.
our lives, and send them to him. So we got into it sort of by default.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how did that happen?
And the same for him. So that's originally what I think I got in contact with him about, to say, would you provide some education? And he was like, yeah, sure. And then a couple of months later, oh, so I've got skin cancer.
Yeah, because I was going to say, that's, the fact that all happened is, crazy. Yeah.
So we kind of just, formed a professional relationship in that way. He was just so contactable, and I think he's so passionate about human skin and prevention,
which is what you're about
and
anyway.
Early detection, and so am I. So it's really aligned, and he's just partnered with the skin cancer charity that trains us. So we're all, as a community, working together to help save lives, because in doing this, I've actually found melanomas, and through sharing my story, one of the things that I'm most proud about is that there was a client that I'd been doing for about 8 months, skin treatments, because she was concerned about breakout. She was older. I'd never seen the back of her neck. She'd never mentioned it. I couldn't feel anything when I did her skin treatments. And because I shared my journey, which people don't normally do, lots of people came in and said, could you just check this?
Just to make sure, which is important.
And she asked me to check the back of her neck, and it was a huge melanoma. So some of them are really subtle, some of them are hard to tell, some of them are questionable. There was no way around this one.
You could tell.
Of course, I'm not there to say it is.
No.
And so I very quickly used all the training that I had and was able to give her advice in a way without panicking her that she needed to take action tomorrow.
Yeah, that's how it was.
And she did. And so because we didn't have time for the screening, I used the device. So I used both tools. I used everything that I'd learnt with the Skin Cancer Charity and what I'd learnt with Toby, and improvised. And I used the equipment to take the pictures, but instead of sending it to him, it takes about 30 minutes to do that.
Okay.
This was at the end of an appointment.
Yeah, so you didn't.
We didn't have the time. She also had she's a carer, so she had a daughter with her who is quite severely autistic. Yeah. So you have to be really careful about the sort of conversations that you're having. And so I directed her to the doctors. I sent her the photos, the images. She was able to send that all in, and immediately they got her in.
That's amazing.
She's now had a second surgery. It was a melanoma, and luckily it didn't spread to her lymph nodes. So all of this knowledge and training, and like, she wouldn't have showed me if I didn't have it. If I didn't have the BCC and share the journey,
she wouldn't have
asked.
And that's why it's important. And I know you're now using your journey to educate and inspire and inform others. And it's really amazing because, like, even just hearing that lady's story there, if it wasn't for the fact that you hadn't shared your own, she probably wouldn't have ever got checked.
No. And that's the thing that I found really powerful about this. At first I was scared because I actually thought the opposite, that people would think, she clearly doesn't know what she's talking about then if she's got skin cancer. That's honestly what I thought. But then I thought, no, after hearing Toby say, look, I've had a skin cancer, I thought, okay, if a consultant dermatologist that removes cancer can have a skin cancer and, you know, he's still a credible person,
so can you.
So can I. So I leaned into it, I've shared it, and the power of it, like so many people ask me to check things, and they just keep finding me, which is not really what you want, but it means that it's essentially, well, it has saved her life. It has saved her life in that situation.
And many other people, I can imagine.
Yeah, and there have been multiple cases. So I just think it's really powerful. It
is really powerful. And the fact is that your business is so interconnected with what you're doing. It's the perfect place if somebody needs that support. You're doing it anyway for your day-to-day work.
And we've got connections, so we help support people and we help navigate people afterwards. So while we might not have the answers, I do find that I do get a lot of that, what do I do now, where do I go now, or even if they've gone to the doctors and they've got nowhere, you know, we are there to support people, we do support them. And it is appreciated. People do notice that, you know, we are still, it's not just the appointment.
No, it's more than that.
It's more than that. And I do check in with people and ask how the journey's going. And I just think it's important because there isn't that support there. And
that's what I was going to ask you. It doesn't sound like it, which is why people are coming directly to you now.
Yeah, and they do. They come to us over the doctors. Either because they can't get in or because they know that, you know, they've been and they've just got no answers.
So in terms of for yourself, so are you on like a yearly check now? How does it work in terms of looking after your own health?
So really, yes, once a year I need to have a full body check because I mean there's a possibility that I could get the scary type. I think now, like, it's crazy, but honestly I was educated that because I'm so white and I burnt back then, and I think I still hear it be said now, they do educate that sunbeds will help you.
Yeah, my husband's, he's very pale, which he openly admits, and he was told that as well.
I was told it would help build melanin in your skin, which will protect you from burning, you'll get a better tan. And so, you know, as a child, that's what I did. And I knew about the ageing effects. And then even when you hear the opposite, you've already got that wired in your brain.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Even though someone's saying, well, it causes cancer. Well, I don't think it does.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's still being said now, and it's a problem because they are definitely a cause of skin cancers.
And then now you see like sunbed places more than ever as well.
Yeah. They increase the risk dramatically. So it's quite scary. So, you know, they need to be banned because it's just removing it needs to be what we've done with cigarettes. We need to do with sunbeds. We need to be showing the destruction to the skin that it causes, like they've done on the cigarette packets. There needs to be some
like that kind of pre-warning type of stuff.
Yeah, so people are fully informed, because I honestly think people don't know.
No, I haven't heard anybody ever say that.
So I think the more people are educated on, you know, this is what the result can be later in life. And this is what it can do to your skin, and real facts, because that's what I find people are always saying to me, I didn't know that, I had no idea about that. So I just feel like it's my life purpose now.
It sounds like it is, and the work that you're doing in it already is amazing. So you're working with another charity now, a skin cancer charity. What's that called?
Skin is the charity.
It's actually called Skin.
And the training that we do is called MACE. I think that's how you say it. And it's for anybody can do it, but like professionals, hairdressers, things like that. They encourage people like that to do it. But what the work that they do is they'll go round, and the people that work for the charity, that particularly they go to places like gardeners, you know, landscapers,
outside all the
people
time.
that work outside, building on the building sites. They'll go and they will deliver this information because again, they don't know what to look for. They have no understanding of what burning is doing. And they're outside all the time.
That's true.
I think like the work they do is incredible. So I hope to be doing more with them. I've just delivered a talk at the weekend We were raising money for their charity.
Amazing.
So they were there, and they're absolutely brilliant. So I'll be looking to do more events with them to raise awareness, raise money.
Yeah.
I just think, even in my industry, before we got into the blemish side of things, I didn't know. Like, I've had clients for years for facials, and I wasn't looking at their skin like I have been in the last 5 years. I probably would have not even noticed a BCC before.
Yeah. Whereas now you can spot it.
I can't miss it now.
Yeah, that's a good thing. We need more people like you.
But I just think, actually, that for me, that was quite surprising to have been in the industry, like maybe at that point 15 years.
Yeah.
And actually, a bit like doctors, you touch on things, but it wasn't really so relevant. Whereas now, I think it's our responsibility to educate ourselves on it, because we're in a privileged position where we get to be up and close and personal to people.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. And what's your plans then? So you're going to be doing the work with skin, but it sounds like you're on a personal mission now to educate.
Yeah, I want to do it so I think for me, when I shared the journey on Instagram, and I don't have a huge following, but the people that saw it, and then it raised the point of, can you just check this?
Yeah.
Or I've brought my husband in today. I had no idea it would do that. So I thought, if I can do that with a small audience or one-to-one, I'm going to keep doing that.
Yeah, you should.
On those platforms, on LinkedIn, Facebook and Instagram. But I've just now developed a whole talk, which I've done with Iffy Thomas, who used to be a speaker, and to take to stage, really, to reach bigger audiences, companies, a bit like what Skin are doing. Yeah. The charity, where they go round and they see organisations and they will give them some education. Yeah. And I think every time I deliver a talk, it reaches more people. If one person says to me at the end of it, which usually happens, do you know, I've got something that I've been ignoring, and they get it checked, then that's enough for me. I'd love to see all of this go into a book. As well. I can really visualise that now. I just feel like it needs to be spread in every way. I want to do more work with Toby and Matt, my mum, and with the skin charity. So just really collaboration, community work. I feel like I have to talk about it. I have to, because it is making such a difference.
And you are making a difference. And just to wrap it up, because honestly, in this time, I've learned so much about in terms of skin cancer, because it's not a conversation. I do a lot of work in the cancer space, but not really had a chance to have a conversation in relation to something that actually, like you said, is quite common. What message would you give to somebody about in terms of looking after their skin health, who may be listening or knows somebody who's thinking, actually, I'm not too sure what's going on with my skin? Is there something I should get checked out?
I think definitely make sure that people are wearing SPF, at least a 30.
And is that any skin, any type of skin, any colour?
Yeah, all skin types, even melanin-rich skin. We like to say melanin-rich skin now. We do work on a Fitzpatrick, but now we don't have a black skin, a Hispanic skin. Okay. The cultural things are so mixed now, that actually a melanin-rich is more descriptive. Okay. Because I feel like, there could be anything in that genetic background. Yeah. But all of those skin types need to wear a minimum of a 30 or a 50, but no less than a 30. Yeah. And seek shade when you can, cover up when you can. We need to rewire our brains from this having a tan is a healthy glow. Having a tan or changing colour is a sign of skin damage. So I think if people can bear that in mind going forward, but in terms of if they've got something, I would say something that I developed in my talk was something called the patch theory. Okay. So I would say apply that to your life. So it's basically, it stands for pay attention, take action, treat the root, get clarity, and then heal. Yeah. So if you've got a patch on your skin that's new, that's been there for longer than 4 weeks, take action on it. Don't just leave it months and months and months. If it's been longer than 4 weeks, get it checked. It might be nothing, but it's important to get it checked. Equally, if you've got a mole or a lesion that you've had for years, if it's changed, get it checked.
Yeah.
So this is the confusion. Sometimes someone will say, oh, I've had it ages, you know, or they're more panicked if it's new.
Yeah.
New can still be okay,
Yeah.
but it depends on what lesion it is. So anything new, anything that's bleeding, crusting, going in a cycle and it's not going away, or anything that you've had for a long time that's suddenly changed in shape, size, colour, get it checked.
Yeah, it's so important.
So important to get it checked, you know, whether it is a common BCC or a melanoma. I mean, if it's a melanoma, people are going to be glad that they took action, because that's the difference.
Yeah.
With a melanoma, timing is so important. If you can get there in time, you can get rid of it and live a healthy life. If you don't, then your life can be over very, very quickly.
No, thank you for that. It's really helpful and informative. And if people want to follow your work, whether it's your business, what's your business called?
The Expert Skin Clinic.
It's based in Northampton, and your Instagram handle?
Yeah, I think that's the same.
It's the same?
Yeah,
so follow you the same everywhere?
It's the Expert Skin Clinic,
And Instagram and LinkedIn, you're on as well?
Yeah, I think it's under my name, actually, on LinkedIn. I think I'm just under Larissa Warren.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Larissa. Really informative, and I'm sure it's going to be of much use to so many people.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the See Through the Big C podcast. I hope you took a lot of value from the stories that is shared, and that it hopes to either educate, motivate or inspire you to take action. So thank you for listening.